Hey, bud, you got a spud?
No fool, but I got a cool.
Love that.
Now, I'm a
Hey,
fellow
everybody.
that
It's
goes
Deborah
away with a
Kobylt.
gentleman.
Welcome to another edition of Deborah Kobylt Live. And I've got in studio with me Rocky Rosen. And my board guy here, Tony, just said, that sounds like an ice cream. It does sound like an ice cream. I like your name, Rocky Rosen. And they call you the cigarette whisperer.
Yeah, I've got that nickname.
And you can teach people or help people to stop smoking, even the most addicted, in 3 days.
In 3 days.
I'd like to see this, but you've been very successful with it. So, Rocky, take it away. How do you get the most addicted smoker to stop smoking in 3 days?
Well,
Have
okay,
at it.
if you're a smoker who wishes you didn't smoke, that's
Right.
where that's where I
Right.
get
You
to
can't have
begin
somebody
with.
who just loves it and is
No,
like, nah.
yeah, I'm not, and I'm
You've
not.
lost
I'm
that.
I'm on no anti-smoking mission.
No.
I don't care if people smoke or not. I'm pro-smoking. I'm not pro-smoking, but I hate the way smokers are treated today by people, as if they're an underclass. But when a person wishes they didn't smoke, then when they call me, they're calling me because they feel like I've got to quit. I don't want to do this anymore.
They have to be ready.
Well-
It's like dieting. It's like you can't just say you're going to diet and then you go and cheat. You got to really want to do it.
But when they call me, they're calling me because they don't want to smoke, that they feel like they have to stop. And I get that reversed for them very quickly. The truth about smokers is you don't have to stop. You may hate yourself, your health may suffer, but you had to stop, and you've probably been telling yourself for years you have to stop.
Most people want to stop, they just can't stop. I mean,
just
nobody
don't-
wakes up and
they
says,
don't have
oh my
the
God, I
tools.
love to smoke.
So my whole tool is teaching people how never to feel deprived by them still carrying cigarettes with them. And I am so sorry I forgot my pack of cigarettes in my car. But my clients
Yeah,
still
we were
carry
going to have a
cigarettes.
smoke, weren't we?
Yeah, we were going to have a cigarette. Is teaching people how to use the urge, not fight the urge. See, people call me and they go, I don't want to do this anymore, and that's a lie. Smokers want to smoke. They just don't want to suffer the consequences.
Okay, how do you use the urge? How do you do that?
Well,
how
by
do you
getting
use the
people to come in
urge?
before they light a cigarette, by the time I'm done with day one, there are 4 sessions. Day 1 is overcoming the feeling of deprivation. Day 2 is overcoming repressing the urges. Day 3 is Independence Day. Day 4 is long-term support and ongoing and relapse prevention.
Okay,
Talking about day 1. When you feel like you can't smoke, you get anxious, you get frustrated, you get irritable. But the reality is when you understand that you have cigarettes with you, that you can smoke anytime you want to, all that notches down. When you feel like you don't want to smoke, when the truth is even after you quit smoking, you still get urges, when the truth is we do want to smoke. So what I do on day 1, my clients start saying a few words to themselves every day. I'm nicotine addicted before they light a cigarette. I'm nicotine addicted. I want to smoke. I can smoke. I don't have to stop. Now that goes against everything every stop smoking methodology out there is designed to try to make the urges to smoke go away. My whole program is teaching people how to actually use those urges. So when the urge reoccurs a month later, 6 years later, 20 years later, you know what to do with that urge. You know how to use it.
is
instead
it
of fight
visualization, if you will? Because are you visualizing, like you don't want to smoke, but let's say you've got the urge to do it, you've got the pack of cigarettes with you. What do? You look
Well-
at it, you talk to the pack?
Well,
What do you do?
we've also, I heard you talking about, you had a child psychologist on a moment ago.
My other show, yeah.
And I always say, smokers, we all act, pardon me, like we may not have had the happiest childhoods, but we all act like we've had the longest. Always thinking I can get away with this, always think I can get away with this. So another thing on day 1, what my clients do is they make a list of benefits they want out of stopping smoking. And these words go on the inside and the outside of the pack.
I love that. So when they pick up the pack of cigarettes, there's an entire list of why they shouldn't be doing it. Why they didn't
so let
want
me
to.
give you some examples of that. I'll ask people, what do you want out of stopping smoking? They'll tell me I want better health, I want self-esteem, I want to be free.
I don't want to smell like a cigarette.
Exactly. And, again, go. I always say love the smoker, hate the cigarettes.
You want to kiss somebody without being told you smell.
Well, yeah, I'm working on that with one of my clients right after I leave here. The wife is going crazy about it. And I told the wife, look, you married him. He was a smoker. You knew he was a smoker then. You can't give him a whole bunch of crap now.
Sure,
But anyway,
she can.
Well, she can.
She was hoping.
She was hoping. Like changing a man. Pretty simple to do, huh? So they'll make a list, and then they'll say better health, self-esteem, and freedom. I say, okay, I'll tell you what. I'll give you a check right now. Let me buy your good health. Deborah, what's your good health worth to you? Give me a dollar amount.
Priceless, obviously.
What's your self-esteem worth to you?
Priceless.
What's your family worth to you? Because cigarettes rob you of your family all the time. You know, I know we're going to get into this. The president said that we have an opiate crisis in this country, and we do. There were, from when Trump made that announcement, that 91 people a day were dying from opiates. But the Centers of Disease Control has broken that number down, where over 480,000 deaths, premature deaths, are attributed to or contributed by a person smoking, which means over 1,300 people a day die every single day in this country from smoking-related causes. More people die from smoking prematurely than people who die in fires, suicide, and homicides combined. Add to that auto accidents, plane crashes, and train wrecks. Add to that all other drug and alcohol abuse. Add to that every American who died on 9/11 and every soldier fighting ever since. And add to that people who die from HIV, from AIDS. Make that all one number. It doesn't touch what smoking takes out each year.
You know, if it's such a poison, it's amazing to me that it's even allowed.
Well, you can't. It's so grandfathered in. You tell.
Just like the guns, it's all grandfathered in. You can't take this stuff away.
Exactly right. But you tell about 20% of the adult population you can't have this anymore. Look, cocaine's illegal, but you know what? If somebody wanted to get some cocaine today, I bet they can make a few phone calls and find the right CD characters and go get some cocaine.
It's a lot deeper with tobacco, you know that. I mean, the special interests, it would,
well,
we'll be selling it until the end of time.
And, you know, how do I put this? I always say cigarettes are shaped perfectly. They're just little pricks that want to hurt the person using it. You love them. They don't even know you exist. You kiss them, they spit poisons down your throat. And we're talking about poison, and you mentioned poison. Nobody in this country really knows what nicotine is. Everybody's heard the word nicotine, and the tobacco industry has been brilliant hiding the truth about nicotine in dictionaries. You want to know what the dictionary definition of nicotine is? Pardon me, I'm going to cough. I'm just getting over that flu.
Uh-oh.
No, about 2 weeks ago, this is hacking cough that said, or I got to quit smoking, one or the other.
I was going to say, should I be leaving the studio right now?
No. I'm way past it. It's just the residual. What nicotine is, the dictionary definition of nicotine is it's a highly addictive, highly toxic, water-soluble alkaloid found in tobacco, valued as an insecticide.
It is an insecticide.
It is an insecticide.
So the stuff you're using to kill the mosquitoes and the cockroach is the stuff that you're inhaling. It's
and every
disgusting.
time you smoke, or every time you vape, or every time you chew the nicotine gum, or every time you wear a nicotine patch, all you're doing is insecticide in your body all day long. How can that possibly be good for you? And now with these vapes, you know, they're finding a much higher incidence now that we have about 10 years of it, of bladder cancers, different kinds of cancers coming from it. There is no safe cigarette. Now, that doesn't mean you can't smoke, but you do it assuming your own personal responsibility.
Yeah, and I have a real issue with secondhand smoke. I told you I grew up with my father, who was a smoker, an extremely addicted smoker, and how he lived as long as he did, I'll never know. I think he started when he was 15 or 16, and he died late into his 80s. And it wasn't from smoking, I'll tell you that. But as a little kid, he would have one cigarette lit, and he would light the other one as he was putting the other one out. About 3 to 4 packs a day.
But secondhand smoke is not the issue that it used to be for most people today.
Well, I have asthma, and I'm going to attribute it to that, because he would smoke in one section of the house, but quite frankly, the house was so tiny, it would find its way up to my room in probably a couple minutes. But I remember what I would do. I told you this on the phone. I would get his cigarettes, and I'd put them under the water, you know, so they were waterlogged, and then I'd put them back in his briefcase, and oh, was he mad at me.
And you were doing a loving act.
I was, but he was very angry at me. But I'd flush him down the toilet.
That's just it. Smokers will get so angry at people when they give them a hard... I've got a joke. Do you want to know why smokers cross the road?
To get the cigarette from the chicken on the other side? I don't know.
It's because somebody who doesn't smoke told them not to. The more we tell somebody don't do something, the more they're going to want to do it.
Oh, isn't it just life the way it is? It's the same with dieting or drinking. It's the same thing.
The more a smoker tells themselves don't, the more they want to.
So then for people who are listening, who are vaping, who are smoking, and they actually want to quit, but they don't believe that you can help them in 3 days, what do you say to them?
Do a free consultation. Free consultation takes about 2 hours. It's my first day, my first session. If we're a good fit, and we'll ascertain that together, I'll have you off cigarettes in 2 days after that.
And then do you stay with the person
Yes,
for long term? How does that
long-term
work?
ongoing support. I'm available 24/7 to my clients. I talk to people I've worked with back in the 90s. It's not that they want to smoke. We've just become friends.
Yeah, I
but,
like that.
I never tell anybody don't smoke, ever. I've helped many hundreds of people get smoke-free. It's actually in the thousands at this point.
But from the way you've described it, you described the first step. And then what about the second and third? Do you get into their head and almost create a visual for them so that before they reach for it, they go, I can't?
No, they reach for it. They still hold cigarettes, even after they stop smoking.
But what is it? They'll hold it,
Yeah.
but they won't light it.
But
So
they
what
won't
is
light
it
it.
that you're telling them so that
Well,
they
I'm
don't
not going to
light
give it all away.
A little
So,
bit.
I'll give it a little bit of away.
Yeah, give a
You know,
little
let me give you the entire, anybody who's listening to this, the entire trick to stop using nicotine, to stop smoking, to stop vaping, is whenever you're ready, don't light the next one. Stopping is simple. It's just not easy.
Yeah, no, I
My
know.
process takes this, not just makes it simple for you, but makes it really doable. So again, you know, you'll remind yourself before you light a cigarette, you'll say the technique, I'm nicotine addicted, I want to smoke, I can smoke, I don't have to stop, but I want better health, self-esteem, and freedom. There's a little more that comes in on day 3 than that, but that doesn't really help anybody until we get to day 3.
Do you visualize, for example, what the lungs look like? Do you
I'll show
bring in-
them.
Bring
I
in
wor-
a lung,
When
an
I
ugly
work with
lung?
when I work with clients, I'm doing a PowerPoint presentation at the same time.
Right.
So I don't spend a whole bunch of time on all the negatives, but we do talk about the consequences of smoking, what it does to your lungs, how it hasn't. Smoking does not cause all death and disease.
No, just look at my dad.
Smoking, yes, exactly. But smoking will promote any diseases our body are susceptible to, or cause some diseases our body are susceptible to. And your dad is that great exception. Lived to be 91. My mother lived to be 74. She died of lung cancer. Her father lived to be 100. Her mother lived to be 93. They didn't smoke. She did.
Yeah, so it got her.
It got her.
Yeah.
Conversely, my dad died a few years ago at 93. His 2 sisters, mother and father, all smoked. Dad never smoked. His dad's sisters, mother and father all died in their 60s. Dad lived to be 93. Coincidence? I don't know. George Burns is a great example, who's somebody who smoked for many, 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 many years, died at 100.
Everybody did back then. It was chic and attractive. Remember, everyone
But
had a
if-
cigarette in their hand.
But if you look at George Burns in his early days, you never saw much energy. He was always very low key. And you know, who knows what a greater impact of health your father might have experienced if he didn't. I was listening to NPR a couple weeks ago. They had a surgeon on, and I just happened to be listening to it. And the surgeon was talking about doing surgeries on smokers versus doing surgeries on non-smokers. And the surgeon was saying, it is such an amazing difference of odor. It is such an amazing difference of shades of the organs. When you're dealing with smokers, sometimes when I'm in there, I'm just suctioning out some tar just to get some some stuff out of there. Excuse me.
That's a visualization,
Well-
sucking out the tar from your body. Ugh.
And I do a lot of visualizations with them. I
I think that stuff really works.
know-
It's like taking kids to the morgue, somebody who's just been killed in a car accident for teaching them in high school, don't drink and drive. I remember that. We were taken to the morgue, and it's like, oh my God, really? That was a visualization that always stuck with me.
I'll bet that did.
Yeah.
That
That was a good one.
You know, let me just say one other thing. I'm somebody who believes O.J. Simpson should not be walking the streets today.
You and a lot of people.
Yeah. I happen to think the man is guilty. I could be wrong, but if I'm not wrong, then the relationship that smokers have with their cigarettes is the exact same relationship that Nicole Simpson had with O.J. Simpson. You see, people think it's quitting smoking when actually it is getting out of a very ugly, ugly relationship. Do you know how many times Nicole made 911 calls because he was abusing her? She made many 911 calls, right? But the difference between a Nicole Simpson and a smoker is, and I keep hitting the microphone, I'm sorry, where Nicole and, unfortunately, Ron Goldman's wounds were carved from the outside in, smokers' wounds are carved from the inside out.
Right. You don't see them.
And do you want to know why smokers people who are in recovery, drug addicts and alcoholics, say it's tougher to stop smoking than doing drugs and alcohol? Do you want to know why?
No. I mean, yes, I do want to know why. I don't know, and I want to know why. So go ahead.
Because if I'm talking to somebody who got sober, I said, hey, what was the day like before you got sober? They're going to tell me it was one of the worst days of their lives. They hit a bottom. They lost their job. They lost their family.
I got you. And with smoking, it was a great day, so you're lighting up because you're enjoying yourself.
You don't have that bottom until the doctor goes, hey, you know what? This is not good.
Your liver.
Yeah. Well, David Bowie, his liver cancer. David Bowie had been sober for over 20 years, but kept on smoking, and the incidence of liver cancers and smoking are so correlated together.
Yeah, no, I know that. That's why I mentioned that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got 1,300 a day die here in this country from smoking. Isn't that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And if you just smoke a pack a day, that's 7,000 cigarettes a year. That's a lot of cigarettes.
It does get up there.
Needless to say, it's expensive. So if you put that money in a jar every year, just think of where you could go and what you could do. And
Well,
people are probably saying,
that's how I always get my clients to pay themselves back.
yeah.
Whatever you're going to put in for
Where
the
do you wanna
cigarettes that
go?
day, just put it in a shoebox and let that shoebox stay there for a year, and at
Here-
this point you'll have in LA close to $3,000, if not over $3,000, if you just smoke a generic brand, the regular brands.
That is a lot of money. You can go almost anywhere on $3,000, depending upon how you want to travel. Do we have a few more minutes that I can talk to him? Tell me, obviously you were a smoker. How heavy of a smoker were you? And when did the day come where you just said, I can't do this anymore?
Okay, well, I didn't know when I was 22 I was going on a 12-year mission to quit smoking.
So what are you saying? When did you start? At 22?
I started at 13.
Started at 13, but you wanted to quit at 22.
I started the process of getting off cigarettes at the age of 22. And I had tried everything. I didn't know, like I said, it was going to be a 12-year mission, but I went to SHIC, I went to Smoke Enders, I did physician's clinic.
Did you do the patch? Did you do it all?
No, I did the nicotine gum. There wasn't the patch when I stopped smoking.
I used to like the taste of that.
You like the
Isn't
taste?
that terrible?
Yeah.
My friends who were trying to stop smoking, I'd be like, oh, can I have some? I used to
Yeah.
love the taste of that.
Be careful.
Yeah,
Be careful. That can just circle around.
I know.
I've got a client next week who's hooked on the nicotine gum.
That still tastes kind of good. Don't go taking it. But
I'm glad you think so.
Yeah.
I'm glad that insecticide tastes kind of good to you.
thank you for the visual.
Thank you.
But I'm just saying that stuff could be addictive too.
It
that
is.
gum.
Well, it's
Yeah.
nicotine.
Yeah.
Nicotine is addictive. It just is. And you know what? You and I, when I talk to my clients, I always let them know, you and I may or may not agree on much, but I don't care who you are as a smoker, you deserve better than what cigarettes are doing for you, than what nicotine is doing for you.
Here's another thing, smokers. You think that you're masquerading your breath, and you're not.
No.
You smell, your clothes smell. Even if you were out in a blizzard smoking, and you think, it's not going to stick. It always sticks. I can't stand smokers' breath. It makes me crazy. You can't kiss anybody. Now, who wants to live life that way, right? With horrible breath, and you can't even give somebody a kiss.
But understand something. Everybody starts the same way. Everybody starts as a social smoker.
Look,
Now,
I
not-
smoked. I told you I smoked in high school.
Not every social smoker gets addicted, but some social smokers cross this invisible line to I don't care if my friends are around or not, I want a freaking cigarette, and then bam, you're addicted to this stuff. Once addicted, forget the BS that Chantix and hypnotists try to sell you that you can become a non-smoker. If you've gotten addicted, you'll never be a non-smoker. The furthest away you get from this is you get to become an ex-smoker. As an ex-smoker, you get to enjoy all the benefits that non-smokers enjoy. Smell better, feel better, look better, taste better. But also you get the benefit that a non-smoker will never understand. And that's a huge sense of accomplishment.
Oh, absolutely. But I have a question. If you give up the smoking, do you then go and do something else?
No.
Do you
Well,
go
yeah,
eat too much? You know, a lot of people
Well,
gain
I
weight.
work on, that's my day too. That's where we talk about how not to substitute something for cigarettes.
But you have to do something, even
Yeah.
if you go out and work out, right? You
Well,
got to
no,
do something
you don't
to occupy
have to. You can
yourself.
just sit there and and figure it out for yourself by coming from the truth. You know what? I'm hooked on this stuff. I want to do this. I can do this, like you just said. But if I have this one, I'll probably have 7,000 more, like you just said a moment ago. And right now, I'm willing to accept this temporary discomfort so I can have my health, my self-esteem, and freedom. My technique replaces anybody who uses a cigarette. And you still hold cigarettes. You can still hold a cigarette. And one of the reasons I have my clients still hold cigarettes is so they get a muscle memory of being able to pick one up, put it in their hand, know that I want to smoke, and still be able to say, you know what, screw you, and put it down. I change people's inner thoughts from I'm screwed by smoking to absolutely screw cigarettes. When the person calls me, they hate themselves for smoking, but they love their cigarettes. I flip that. I teach them how to get really comfort their urges and how to really come to loathe cigarettes. I mean O.J. Simpsonized cigarettes. Look at them for the murderers they are. And of all the brands out there, and I always talk about this whenever I get a chance to be interviewed, I talk about American Spirits. Simply the most evil brand in America.
Why?
Because they say they're not as bad as the others. But if you take a leaf of tobacco and you ignite it, just a pure leaf of tobacco, over 4,000 compounds get released. Among these compounds are arsenic, cyanide, benzene, cadmium. There's minute amounts of radioactive material, plutonium-210 gets released. This is where the epidemiologists believe cancers originate from these free radical radioactive material circulating in our bloodstream, getting caught in a spot and irradiating and changing the cellular structure.
Interesting.
By the way, smoking's bad for you.
Period. That's all. And you can create
Pretty
all
much.
the visuals in the world, and you need to for these people. And it's just bad. I mean, so if people want to contact you, what do they do? How can they find you?
I'm the easiest guy in the world to find. My name is Rocky Rosen. You can go to the internet, type that in. My website, I've got thecigarettewhisperer.com. I also have rockyrosen.com.
And you've dedicated your life to this.
Oh, yeah.
You really have.
Oh, yeah.
You work every day tirelessly, and you help people from all over, right? You Skype with people.
I work with people all over the world.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked in Australia. I've woman in a room in Australia. I just did a woman in the mountains of Ecuador. I've got lined up a guy who lives in Madrid.
Do you travel to them? Are they to you, or do you mostly Skype?
We can do
and
it by phone. We can do it by phone and
Very
PowerPoint
interesting.
presentation.
I like that you've dedicated yourself to helping other people.
Well,
how many have you gotten off cigarettes? And we're going to have to go in a minute. How
many.
Give me an idea.
Hundreds. I mean, hundreds. I don't have my exact number. I've been doing this since 91.
Right. You quit smoking in 87.
Right.
It took you a long time, but you figured it out.
Well, I didn't know this was going to become my calling
Mm-hmm.
until a friend of mine said, "Hey, Rocky, you're the most screwed up guy with smoking I ever knew. How did you do it?" So I kind of... This comes from a guy by the name of Albert Ellis. It's rational cognitive positive behavioral therapeutic approach.
Mm-hmm.
Teaching people how to use something that you think is a negative and make it a positive.
Well, thank you for doing this.
Okay, and the way to contact me, because I want you to, if you really wish you didn't smoke, let me give you my phone number. It's 818-961-6978.
They've
you can
got
go to my
nothing to
website.
lose. You've got a 2-hour consultation for free.
For free.
So at the very least, call you and figure out, is it a good match?
Exactly.
You know,
That's
and
why I
don't
do
you
the
want to smell
consultation.
better and kiss better, everybody?
Oh, it's so much more than that.
No, of
but
course.
yes.
I'm just.
It's so much more.
Of course.
And it is it's the gorilla in the room. Nobody in this country knows how to talk about smoking other than wear a patch, take a pill, get hypnotized and try to convince yourself you don't want to smoke. I've got a tagline on my emails I send out. Everybody tells you to stop. Nobody shows you how until now. And if you wish you didn't smoke, I wish you'd call me.
Okay, thank you so much for being here.
What
Rocky
an honor.
Rosen, I'm glad that you reached out to us. It's important. It's dear to my heart, having grown up with a smoker and having been a very, very young smoker myself. And
Yeah.
my asthma was so bad that I just thought, really? I'm 18 years old. I'm going to keep going. And one day I just got my pack and tossed it.
And that's the
never,
difference.
ever did it again.
And
I
that's the
couldn't.
difference. You never really crossed over that line to addicted. You were socially smoking. Were you smoking off on your own?
I was smoking a lot. I was smoking
Okay.
morning, noon, and night, almost like my dad was. And I was
Okay.
young because look what the role model that I had, right?
Well,
and I
it's
started
not
young,
his-
so but I realized that I didn't want to be like him, and I didn't want to not breathe, and I was an athlete. I mean, who could be an athlete and smoke? It just doesn't work. So
Any way
I quit.
anybody stops is the best way in the world.
Yeah.
I just have a different methodology.
Yeah, and you help a lot of people who can help themselves. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for
Rocky
having me.
Rosen, not the ice cream, but the man, the cigarette whisper. Please give him a call. Look him up on his website if you want to stop smoking, or if you know someone who needs to stop smoking. That's a tongue twister, or wants to. So give him a call. And everybody, thanks for being here. Have a safe day, and we'll see you next time. Bye.